Alright. Hello everybody and welcome to the WTL vs. the World Show Match series. We're hopping into it midway where the action heats up. This is a show match between the very best Korean and Chinese players, represented by Time up here on the top right side, the Chinese #1 player in the world, and Germany's #1 player, maybe #2 behind Hero Marine. This is Showtime. And Showtime is coming in on the heels, him and Time here. You can see it's tied up 2-2 in this best of 9. The series started with Raynor crushing Trap with a decisive 2-0, getting 2 points for Showtime's team. That is, of course, the world team, as we'll be referring to them from now on. But then Time's team, in the next match, it was Rogue, who got a 2-0 over Hero Marine. Those matches were both really one-sided bops from what I heard, and that's why we're hopping in midway. After this series, it is not a best of 3 between each players, by the way, guys. It is a best of 2, so you play 2 maps. And guess what? That means you can draw, so you can tie up a map. Guess what else? Next map after this, and we're going to be, of course, taking this show match down to its finality, its end stage. It's going to be Maru versus SERRAL after this match, which is going to be awesome, because we do not see that match enough, and it very rarely lives up to the hype. Occasionally it does. Occasionally it does live up to the hype, right? Especially with Maru being in the form that he's been in recently, but we'll see how it goes, as, of course, Showtime, a fantastic player, playing for Berlin International Gaming, Time playing for Kaisi Gaming. And the way this works is basically the WTL, I believe this was hosted by the Chinese scene, so a bunch of the commentators and the passionate fan base they have there for StarCraft created this beautiful Team League series. But guys like Showtime, Raynor, SERRAL, Hero Marine, they all play on teams where they're lone wolves. Showtime, only player for Berlin International Gaming as far as I know. Hero Marine, the only StarCraft player for Mouse. SERRAL, the only player for esports. So this is a cool chance where they said, okay, you guys didn't have enough of a roster to play the proper Team League. Let's just do a one-off best of 9 show match. We're going to take the best guys that have those big team rosters. We're just going to take the cream of the crop that played in the regular season and the cream of the crop from these other guys, these lone wolf mad dogs, and see how it goes. Well, speaking of mad dogs, guys, yeah, I showed before how he pulled off gas. Disgusting. A 2-minute 20 third command center. This is the greediest build of all time. I wish I had the balls to do this, but then I realized I would just die to every single friggin' low GM pleb tier North American A move. Is such a dangerous build, and he will go 3 racks afterwards. Is usually, at some people, actually depends. He might go second gas. Usually you go 3 racks after, but I think you can do a 2 barracks into a factory build. So the dangerous thing with this play is that Time is essentially just doing so greedy with the third command center. Because he has a reactor, he can build a lot of Marines, and you can also see Time isn't scouting, because he knows that he needs to like get every single mineral to pay off as quickly as possible. He can't even afford to cut even a little bit of minerals to send an SCV across to scout. If he does that, he's not going to be able to get his barracks up and pump out units to defend in time, especially in time. We've already done it. I'm sorry, guys. See, we really need to get him to change his name, especially when it's Showtime versus Time. It's Showtime. I want to hurt myself right now. Okay, we're calling Showtime Tobias from now on, and Time's name, is it Lee? It might be Lee. Shiz. Damn it, I don't even know his human name. Okay, it's gonna be Time versus Toby. Either way, we're sticking with Toby for Showtime. Showtime's going 2-gate Robo into a third. He's not gonna be able to punish off this, guys. This is like just a very standard macro opening for Showtime, and he doesn't really have a scout. He doesn't know what's going on behind that wall. He says, oh, you know, this might be a 3 racks, could be a factory and a starport finishing with a Widow Mine drop. So Toby doesn't really know what's going on the Chinese player's side of the map. If he was going 4-gate blink, he'd be blinking in about 5 minutes with about 10 stalkers, and that would be very hard for Time to defend against. You can see Time is getting a tech lab on the factory though, so if he immediately builds a siege tank, that'll be ready just within the window of which it needs to defend the attacking schedule of the 4-gate blink. Yes, guys, I googled synonyms for Time before casting this match. I hope you're enjoying my professional usage of different words that aren't exactly Time. Yeah, it's awkward. The other words just don't sound as good. I mean, yeah. Is there going to be some sort of a temporal window, though? A temping, we could call it, almost. An attack temping, an attack temporal window. A window where you could... I'll stop. Are there going to be attack timings? Yeah, I think Time probably could do a pressure along with combat shield starting up. He could move out on the other side of the map. Doesn't have any. He's got one engineering bay. Remember, there's no starport with this, so he's got lots of marines. He's got a tank. He'll have a second tank. It's a pretty decent army, but it's got no longevity. It doesn't have any healing, and the starport only now going down. Showtime sees this, so he knows what he's up against. He's got 8 stalkers here. Oh, jailbait! No, the observer tries to twerk as it runs away from those marines, saying, "You will never get this. You will never get this." But the marines do indeed break out of their cage, and they do get this. Those marines shut down that pervert who was watching them for quite a while. Templar Archives and Forge. Now, Showtime's a big Archon guy, but I would really love him to go Psystorm here. I think someone who's building lots of marine heavy and early tanks, very weak to Psystorm, but because if Time postures out, Showtime's going to feel way too pressured to go straight for Psystorm. That being said, looks like Showtime's confident. He says, you got a 3rd CC. You're not going to move across the map. That would be so silly. So he has a very good read on the situation. Just Chrono Boost Storm, goes straight for 6 gases. The one thing missing is a Robo. No, he's got a Robo. It's a Warp Prism. Okay, so what he's saying is, look, Warp Prism's expensive. Get all the gateways started first, because they take a long time to finish. And once he goes up to 8 gateways, that's when he'll start the Prism. So he's going to 7 gateways now, 9 gateways. Okay, so that's... Yeah. 9 gateways, not a bad count. And then, yep, the Warp Prism starts up after it, and then extra pylons. So if you guys are Protoss players out there, you want some hot tips, no matter what your build is, generally speaking, get your gateways, then get your Warp Prism so that you can then go attack with it if you want to, and harass and all that, and then add a lot of pylons, because as these gateways all kick in, you're going to be producing at a really fast rate. Time, with his first scout on the other side of the map, comes in, sees that he's up against Psystorm. That's a very important scout. Realizing that you're up against that is huge. Showtime Stalker's looking for an opening, not really finding anything. Oh, get out of there, Siege Tank. Mr. Siege Tank. Oh, Time with a bit of a slow response there. Does lose his tank. That's very valuable. And Showtime should easily just blink again. Does lose a Stalker there. 2 Stalkers for a tank, though. A trade most Protoss players will be taking at any moment. Even though you might think, well, cost for cost, is that really great? What's a tank? 150, 125? And a Stalker is, of course, 125 minerals, 50 gas. But you've also got to take into account there's only 1 factory. And it can only build 2 tanks a minute. In fact, taking 64 seconds, a minute and 4 seconds to build 2 of those. Now, Archons are morphing in. We've got an armor upgrade on the way as well. Being Zealot heavy, 12 Zealots out right now. Armor does make sense. It is the high priority upgrade. Showtime's got a 4th base on the way on the left side. Oh, this is going to be really tough, dude. 4th Command Center goes down for Time. He's playing super macro heavy. Does not have a Ghost Academy yet, though. And if he does clump up his units, Psystorm going to be great. If you can get Zealots on the tanks and land some Storms on the SCVs in the bio, it can be game ending. Look at this, though. Another depot or 2 blocking that bunker, and you want to just leave a single space opening so the Zealots can attack it single file. It's really going to mess up the pathing of Showtime's army. Oh, he unsieges at the worst time! He is bringing his double drop back from the left side, but he moved commands forward with his bio. Oh, Psystorms on the SCVs are huge. The one on the tank is not that effective, but he's already killed 19 SCVs, and he does pull on out with most of his valuable units intact. Showtime with a killer temporal window smashing there. It just bricks in the window. And that is, of course, before +1 armor finished. It's before, well, I mean, it's with the tanks were unsieged. Half the army was moving out to the left watchtower. And this is what happens because Time did not have map control. And Showtime's able to pick in there while probing up his 4th base. Find and engage. I think now, though, he's got to go, yeah, I was about to say, 2nd Robo and Robo Bay. If you're a true Chad, you build a 3rd Robo here as well. 3rd Robos are what real warriors do. Showtime, of course, wants to be a little bit more efficient. That German efficiency, something that he's known for. Adept will still beat a Marine, even at this stage of the game, but it's otherwise pretty much a useless unit. And Showtime tries to run it away, but Marauders will shut that one down. Time does have a 4th base, remember, by the way, guys, so that's going to be something he's floating out. He's got to turn that around. Get that command center out of there, bud. Get that command center out. Time's reacting very slowly today, guys. I feel like he's a little slow on the reaction. You don't want to lose that. That being said, there's not too many Stalkers, so as long as you just lift it, Zealots can't really hit it. Oh, man, there's not that much bio here. His bio count seems really slow. The Vikings will kill the Warp Prism, and he does spread backwards, avoiding the Psystorms. Great micro by Time. Unfortunately, he's got no medevacs left. They're all dead. And his bio's just getting overrun. It looks like off the back of that economic damage, the previous attack wave, and the tanks just not being effective against Zealot Archon. Tanks do great versus armored damage, for those who don't know. So they're really good at killing Colossus and Stalkers, but they do nothing to Archons and Zealots. They only do 40 damage a shot. Literally takes 10 siege tank shots to kill an Archon. And because the Archons are so fat, the splash damage doesn't even do that much to the units next to them. Not to mention that the tanks die so quickly to the Zealot charge. So the big problem with tanks in this scenario is they need to be up behind a cliff, behind a wall in, where they can use their very long range to get many shots off. Whenever they're caught out in the open like that, you see the weakness of the tanks, and it really was, like I said, something where the moment he saw that army coming forward, Time had to lift that base off and pull it back, because Time is playing for the late game. He's going non-stop tank production and ghosts, and what have we learned from TY? You can do that style, and you can make it work for some of the best Protoss in the world, but you have to batten down the hatches, you need to lock your doors, because the Protoss is going to try to come in and fight you, and your job is to avoid fighting. Keep your tanks behind wall-offs, keep your units behind bunkers, keep everything spread, and just avoid a rough battle. Avoid those rough engagements every single time. Showtime's going to try and... I mean, this is a poke. He's kind of hanging around here, seeing what he can pick off, and it looks like any opportunity seems like a good opportunity for Showtime. He's just outnumbering him so much. A very half-assed poke there at the end gets the finish simply because Time was so overrun at that point. GG, well played. Showtime wins the first map, first time. All right. Going into the next map. A great map one victory between these two, of course. Gets the score lead for his team once again. Let's see if he can hang on to it. Turn it into a 4-2 lead. This is Showtime. Tobias Sieber, Berlin International Gaming. Kaiser Gaming's Time in the top left side. I actually think he had a pretty good macro situation in that last game, didn't he? I wouldn't have minded Time being a little more active with Widow mine drops potentially. Now, obviously, the reason he was building tanks is he's played 3 command center. There's just so many points in that early mid game where you could just be behind on army because your economy hasn't quite paid off yet. The problem with tank production is it does lock you in a very static style, and it makes you very weak to charge, to storm, and that's exactly what Showtime abused it with. Showtime scouted what he was up against with the Observer and was like, okay, just go Psystorm. That's gonna force the Bio to split and run. My Zealots will jump on top of your tanks, and you're screwed. And like I said, that army is always the danger. And I've been ranting about this ever since we did the World Team League. And I had Dream on my team, and I kept being like, yeah, he's killing it. And he'd always come down into the open and siege his tanks at the third and get killed by some Zealot A move from like Zest or someone. And I was like, Dream, stop. And since then, I've noticed Maru, Dream, everyone, all the Terrans have this issue sometimes where when they're playing that tank production style, they're just not cautious enough against the power of the Zealot A move. And I get it. You see the Protoss is taking a third, taking both gases. You see them taking a fourth. You're like, he can't be aggressive. But you've got to remember that Zealots are so cheap and High Templar are so gas heavy. And I just feel like there's these windows with that style where you're like, hey, if you get 2-2 and ghosts and your fourth up, you're actually like ahead of the curve of the Protoss, because the Protoss, they tend to want to try and damage you in the early mid game and then go to disruptors. They want to kill a bunch of your SCVs then while taking a fourth, then take a fifth, go double robo, go DTs, and then they're like running around with squads of 20 Blink Dark Templar off unlimited money. And that's when the matchup doesn't feel fair, right, for the Terran player. So I much prefer a Terran player being a little cautious in the mid game, maybe even lifting their third base and running SCVs once or twice if they have to. Just don't take the trade until your army grows, because the way Terran works, right, you've got very fragile units, but the highest damage output in the game. You've got lots of long-range, high-damage units, and it's always the case that you are fighting, it's like an arms race of who can, kill or be killed. If you're playing a really tanky army like Zealots or Roaches, that's not always the case. You can actually, take quite a beating without losing too much damage. You ever see a ball of Marines take a lot of damage? No. They either massacre or they get massacred. That's usually the way it goes. So it's one of those things, you get caught out with your tanks, your Marines. It's like, dude, if you didn't fight, if you defended and just made it so there was no good attack angle for the opponent for a little bit longer, that would have been fantastic. But instead, the opponent does get the fight, and Time does find himself quite behind now. Showtime does get a kill, Time gets a kill on that with the Reaper. Hasn't really scouted anything, and how cautious was Showtime? So he just went Shield Battery, Double Adept, Triple Adept into Oracle. Pretty safe build, getting the Shield Battery since he knew he was up against a one-base play. And Time's build order is effing insane. This is a one-base Stim Marine tank all-in. Sorry, time, Bronze League called and they want their build order back. What are you doing? This is the dumbest build I've ever seen in my life. How? There's no way this works, right? This is the sort of thing I die to and I get so upset because I'm like, a pro would never do that. Oh, he turns his laser on. That was really bad play from Showtime. He saw the Reaper, turned his laser on, and the Reaper just ran in the other direction immediately. And he was like, oh, fine. But he's going to see what he's up against, guys. He sees 3 barracks, marines, and tanks. I mean, the problem here is you don't have anything that scales well as Showtime. He's got to go Twilight Council right now. I think he has to go Twilight Council because he saw the tech lab. Now, that's easy for us. He saw 2 tech labs upgrading. You know you've still got another minute until this army really hits its strong point. You need to, like, get something that's going to scale well. But Showtime is saying, nope, screw that. Let's just fight with raw power. Oh, man, he's already at 39 probes. That might be a little bit too much. He's building a lot of shield batteries. Problem for him is the damage output for time. With stim, shields, and tank fire, he's going to be able to outrange your adepts. So you're kind of forced here with the oracles, the adepts, to run forward and basically dive on top of the army, try to overwhelm the marines. If you can drag tank-friendly fire onto them, that could work as well. He's got a stasis trap there, but he really thought time was going to come through that mineral gap. He didn't. The oracles are going for a counterattack. I don't agree with that. I think they should be going for the rally point, not the counterattack. This is such a weird push. It's actually hitting earlier than I thought it would. Right on 5 minutes. It is a 1 base all in. He's going to lose every SCV behind it. Now, oh, Showtime. It looks like 2 Cyclone and a Reaper. 2 units did get trapped. If the Adepts can fight while getting healed by the battery overcharge, that would be great. So many batteries. He's going to try and build up his Void Ray count. I think the Void Rays should just go forward and fight. He's just got to be careful of the Marines stimming. Okay. Oh, those Adepts, man. Okay, I think it's time to fight for Showtime. I think he's got to engage. He's got to pop overcharge and just go for it. Shade forward. It's time to go. He's going to go for it, guys. The Oracles have killed every SCV. It's completely all in. He wants to try and drag that tank fire onto the Marines. But you know what? Showtime's saying, screw this, dude. You have no economy. You can't rally units right now. I'm just going to keep buying time. And even if I lose my main, my natural, I don't care. He's decided that this is actually okay. He's fine with that. He's only got 2 gateways, though. He's lost his gateways and his wall off, and that really hurts his production. He's on 400 minerals, can't really spend it right now. Starting to lose pylons. Those batteries getting depowered. These ones, he still has not popped an overcharge, and that's going to start to cost him here. Because if you don't pick when the fight happens, guess what? Time's going to pick it for you. Showtime's got those 2 oracles gathering energy off the side. They're both ready to engage. Well, one of them is. The other one barely got enough energy to turn its laser on. Needs a few more seconds to gather. He's going to try and pull out of this natural. The Marines stimmed. Remember, they cannot heal from that. The Cyclone goes down. The Void Rays got left behind. He shades out. Showtime with a bit of a mistake. His probes getting cornered. The tanks are going to shove forward. These tanks knowing that there's nothing that can really do big damage to them right now. Now, there is a sentry there, so he can force field the ramp. But Showtime, he's lost a lot of these units. The Void Rays especially were his anti-armored firepower. Another stim comes forward. Remember, Time cannot heal from that. He's got no medevacs. But I think he might be all right with it. Dude, it's a crazy all-in from Time here on such a small map. Uh-oh. Oracles coming from behind. They go for the tank, but unlike Void Rays, they don't do that great damage. He does actually manage to get it and not lose it. Well done. These probes do need to go back to mining. Showtime going to try and warp in a few more units, but yet again, his gateways got depowered. Oh, he's got a shade. He's got a shade to engage, right? The Oracles come in from behind. It looks like they killed another tank and another one. Oh, but oh my God, Marines. Marines with stim laugh at your unupgraded Adepts. They go, pitiful. Fucking pitiful, mate. Oh, GG. Very nicely done. Time. Just a handful of Marines and a tank cleans up the last of the probes and wins with what was an absolutely insane 1-base build order. Does pull out the victory there. GG. Well played by Time using a 1-base 3 racks. Stim, shields, tanks, Marines. Go, go, go. That's it's a push where those units really scale well. And it's hard for a Protoss player to feel confident building, what did I say, guys? A Twilight Council. So the moment you see that push, my instincts say, look, if someone's pushing you on 1-base, but they're waiting for upgrades, I really do think you just drop a Twilight Council in the very back and you chrono charge and you just keep building extra gateways. And I think you buy time with batteries, kind of like what he did, maybe build a Void Ray and stuff. But I think if you can get charge or anything else like that, you're going to be, you know, in such a good spot. Anything that's going to allow your units to scale. You could argue for a Robo, but since you got to start the Robo, then the Robo Bay before you get out anything, it's like, eh. And Immortals, good versus the tanks, not good versus the Marines. So ideally charge, or arguably glaives, if you're making adepts the whole time, even that will make you a lot more effective against the Marines if you go for that big shade engage. But I think losing the Void Rays on the low ground, shading out of that engage was a little derpy there. He needed to pull those Void Rays back the moment he bopped the Cyclone, and just a few little mistakes from Showtime. But that's the power of an aggressive build. Forces mistakes out of your opponents. How often do you think Showtime practices against this? Guys, he does not get to practice on the Korean ladder. He doesn't get to play against the chaotically aggressive Asian styles. So Time here, I bet he dropped a game to a ladder hero sometime when off racing and was like, you know what, that build wasn't half bad. Brings it out here in the high stakes match, and he ties up the series 3-3. Alrighty then, guys, it is going to be the next match now, and the big dogs are out, and guess what? It's almost like the series just started, because it is going to be decided by this one. If either of these players can win both of these maps in this best of two, it's going to, of course, get them to the 5 wins that will result in a victory. In the bottom left side, we've got NC Sports SERRAL coming out on Glittering Ashes, and his opponent, his nemesis, it's Maru. It's not really his nemesis. A nemesis is someone that beats you really consistently. And honestly, I have no idea what their head-to-head is. I'm reaching for my... Pig reaches for the phone. Check their head-to-head. Because I do know, I'm pretty sure Maru won the last one before this, but... Before that, I think SERRAL won a couple. I don't know what the head-to-head stands at this point. I'm so curious because I'm looking at the World Championship coming up, and you know, I'm as I cast this is right before the World Championship, so by the time some people watch this, it might be after. But I'm like, man, Maru's such a favorite for that whole thing. I don't know if anyone can beat him, dude. Like I'm on that Maru hype train. You know, I previously doubted because he just was so inconsistent performing outside of Korea, but he's really brought his A game to online tournaments and started smashing. But the question for me still is, can he now, traveling for the first time in many years, and he's always been bad at international events as Maru, and I say bad, I mean obviously he's still a good player, but did he get like a top 4 once in an IEM or something? I feel like he's never really performed to expectation when he travels overseas. So yeah. Maru is going to go for that command center. Reaper expand blind. Does he keep the Reaper at home? I don't think you need to take any safety precautions. You're playing SERRAL. SERRAL is traditionally someone you can abuse by being greedy. So what greed is here, guys? Well, if SERRAL is Raynor, this would be a really silly move for Maru to do. Because Raynor's much more likely to go pool first and have 6 Zerglings that are about to run into your natural just as this Reaper arrives on the other side of the map where it can't help defend. But I think against SERRAL, who's so consistently going hatch first, that it's actually much more likely to just pay off. Oh, yep, skip the scout, sent the Reaper straight across the map, played a bit greedy, got away with it. And that's exactly how this series starts. So slight edge to Maru here, I would say. Very standard opening for SERRAL. It's not like he's sitting there crying his eyes out over Maru getting away without scouting, but just a very small edge and kind of playing the opponent very well. Gets a drone kill. Oh, that I was not expecting. Sorry, guys. Should have scrolled down for that one, shouldn't I? Damn. And we are searching the head-to-head results right now, guys, between these two. Sorry, didn't have me phone on hand. So it looks like, yeah, I mean, before that, Maru did win that big 4-2 in the King of Battles. That was that great series that we've already cast. But other than that, you know, SERRAL won, Maru won, SERRAL won, SERRAL won, SERRAL won, SERRAL won, Maru won, SERRAL won. So still over the history because SERRAL had such a good streak. SERRAL is still 53% in games and 66.67% in matches. So he's won 6 of their best ofs and lost 3 of them. So Maru's still trailing there. It's actually SERRAL, the nemesis of Maru. You could absolutely call him that. 2-1 is definitely nemesis sort of statistics, if you ask me. If someone's beating you 2 times for everyone, that's yeah, you're going to feel a little stressed out playing against them usually. Oh, he could have pulled the drones there for the kill, but SERRAL, not wanting to lose any mining time, lets the Reaper escape. And this is frustrating. As a Zerg player, when the Reaper just runs circles around you like that, it really can be a little bit triggering. Personally, I mean, I'm obviously not as controlled as SERRAL. He still gets annoyed. And that's a battlecruiser opening. We've got a Viking. So this is fast 3rd command center. So mega economic. Into Fusion Core, into Viking. Now, you know what? This build sucks balls against, guys. It sucks balls against a Zerg who feels like making Ravager Ling and attacking you. Or even doing a Bane Bust. Because you've got a couple of Hellions, not even that many. You've got a Viking, doesn't help, a Reaper, which, you know, whatever, and one Marine. You've got nothing that fights until like 6 minutes when your battlecruiser pops. Now, the problem is, Maru scouted the whole base. He knows that there was no gas mining going on after Link Speed started. He knew you're building drones. So Maru's got 100% information. So he's gotten away with the greediest of openings. And he even fakes stim there. Wait, the Overlord saw him cancel stim. I don't know if SERRAL saw that though. He needed the 100 gas to start the battlecruiser. Interesting. I still think he's going to play Bio afterwards because Bio off of battlecruisers has become more popular. We'll have to see though. Maru definitely has shown a very good ability at playing mech recently, but historically, mech, really good curveball versus Korean players. Even if a European's blindsided by mech, they tend to crush it. The top European Zergs are like mech dismantlers. They absolutely annihilate versus mech, and indeed stim does go down. So it's going to be 1, maybe 2 battlecruisers, probably no Yamato cannon into that. Now SERRAL's going for it. This is not a Ravager Ling push, guys. This is a random 5 Roach pressure with the landed Viking and the Marines coming forward. It's a good hold for Maru. Hellions also outrun these units, so hard to run away for SERRAL. It's just going to kill a couple of Hellions, but losing 5 Roaches pretty inefficiently. Great trade there for Maru. And I've got to question this move from SERRAL, who, I don't know what that was. That felt too late. I think if that was 30, 40 seconds earlier, I could kind of get behind it, but such a big map, just kind of roaming across the map there. I think he was hoping for a much bigger response, but Maru literally just landed a Viking, A-moved it essentially. He's going up to 5 barracks. He's got his double engineering bay, and he's just going single BC. Oh, teleports it in. Sorry, guys. Missed the initial teleport. He gets 3 drones, a very quick evacuation. You see those drones teleporting to the natural. Queen tries to micro back. She's unable to get out of there. How many queens? There's only 4 queens. Wait, whoa. Because he did a roach opening, he's only got 5 queens on the map. 4 now that one of them's died. Oh, this is very bad for SERRAL. He did a cave bob, guys. He made a few roaches randomly and walked them across the map into the worst possible scenario. I'm telling you guys, people keep watching Dark and going, he somehow wins games when he does stupid things. Maybe if I do stupid things, I can win games. Sorry to break it to you, SERRAL. You're not Dark. You're not that good at doing bad opening build orders. Your strength is doing good build orders and playing proper StarCraft. So I'm not a big fan of this opening for SERRAL. I'm sure there's obviously a much more logical reasoning than what I'm kind of making out like it's a really silly. I'm sure there was some explanation, and it's just the situation. He maybe misread what Maru was doing or something like that. For those who don't know, Dark is the best player at playing from bad positions and regularly puts himself in bad positions, but SERRAL is probably one of the best players in the last few years at just doing the right opening for the opponent for the situation and kind of playing it from there. He's going to teleport home with that battlecruiser, repair it up. Maru wants to go straight to the later stages, guys. He's got a 4th command center. And you know what? Oh my god. SERRAL thinks he's playing versus mech. He's going roach speed and mutas. He's not making melee upgrades yet. He's only got a single Evo chamber on the way. Oh, SERRAL, you need to realize what's going on. This is not mech. Cancel roach speed and Jesus. He really does think this is mech. Uh-oh. This Marine push is going to be quite scary. 1-1 upgrade, stim. Shields is almost done. The mutas aren't really able to find anything because the battlecruiser is there. Would be nice if you could pick off that SCV, but notice the mutas aren't even clumped up. And with Marines coming out as well, he's definitely in trouble. If he loses his 4th base on this left side, SERRAL will be in a big spot of bother. Hellbats coming forward. They should guard that tank quite well. Not many Banelings here. Can't afford to lose this base, but like, what do you got to engage this? A handful of Ling Bane Queen. The Queen's very tanky, but the Transfused Queen actually dies. Now he's going to go and fight it. There's no reason to fight here anymore unless this is a great fight for SERRAL because he's already lost the base. But you know what? Sometimes you get a little bit hot and bothered when someone surprises you with a cheeky build like this. You take the fight, even though there's no real reason to it. He should already have been re-expanding to the bottom right side. So he takes an awkward trade. Bane speed has not even started. I mean, SERRAL is just getting hammered in this game. Maru got away with extreme greed. This is the trademark way of taking advantage of SERRAL. SERRAL did a really weird, uncharacteristic roach pressure, which didn't make a lot of sense. He played a low queen build, which is the worst possible opening against someone who goes battlecruiser, which meant he had to invest in like double spores in multiple bases and that sort of thing. And it's just, this was not the way you want a Zerg versus Terran to open. Everything that could go wrong for SERRAL has gone wrong. And he finds himself in a really terrible position, trying to hang on for his life. Bane speed's finally started, but Maru ain't going to give him time for that. Overlord's in the open. Oh man, the Marines are very damaged. Ling's coming in from behind, but the Banelings are getting gunned down. Oh my god, SERRAL will clean this up. Oh my god, get the tank. The tank. No, the tank. Kill the tank. Oh my god. Okay, he will be able to kill most of this battlecruiser. Should TP home. Oh, it dies. Maru leaves it a little bit late. And guys, that puts Cyril still in a really shit position. I'm just kidding. It doesn't matter that he killed those units. Great fight for Cyril in the tail end, but he's already in Dicktown. I mean, at this point, he's barely past the shaft in terms of getting out of Dicktown. He's got a long ways to go because that's a fully saturated fourth. 2-2 upgrades are almost finished. His 1-1. What, his carapace is done. His +1 melee has just started. Cyril, he's like, I kill depot. Two depots, maybe? Set one on fire? Oh, it's helpless because his fourth base isn't even saturated. If you're up against a fully saturated fourth, you want to have a fifth, you want to have all your upgrades on the way, you want to have a sixth base, you want to be heading towards Hive right now. Could Cyril come back from here? Yeah, sure, he's Cyril. But for me, I always talk about the scariest moment in TVZ being when Heavy Marauder Mine comes in and you're both maxed and you're still on Lingbane Muta, because Lingbane Muta doesn't trade well versus those. Now, he doesn't have an Overseer here, so he just lost a Muta to the Widow Mine. Isn't able to clean that up. Of course, he does have an Overseer that will be joining up now, right? You wouldn't just make one Overseer and not add one to your Muta hotkey. I get you broke, Cyril, but come on, that's some real Povo shit right there. Povo, short for poverty. That's a little bit of Australian vernacular. It's what we would use to tease the other kids for having less money than us when we were growing up. This is what can I say? Kids is shitheads. Great Widow Mine hit to start it off here. Cyril, he does not have enough. He's got no Zerglings. How did he deal with the Thors and Marauders? I don't even understand. Yeah, he's dead. He's just way too far behind. And he does get eliminated there. An absolute disaster of a game. Cyril, you can't just play stock standard against a guy like Maru. He's very tricky and good at picking his builds these days. And he showed there just expert handling of how to deal with Cyril. All right, the series is really heating up. This is, of course, for anyone just tuning in live, this is the WTL versus the World Show match. It's a best of 9. We've already seen Raynor defeat Trap 2-0 to open. Rogue defeat Hero Marine 2-0. Showtime and Time. It was a wash, 1-1. Cyril and Maru, though. Now, Cyril finds himself fighting for his team's life, fighting for the world team's life. Needs to win this match just to force the ace match. His opponent, Maru, if he wins this game, gets the 2-0 on Cyril, he will win for his team. Maru. An absolute beast, of course, repping Team Envy, NC Sports for Cyril. Now, remember that if Cyril can win this match, that'll force the ace match, which will be a single best of 1 where both teams get to revive a player of their choice. Now, Cyril or Raynor, Maru or Rogue are my two big kind of potential choices on who you might revive there. Either one of those, and it really depends because it's, you're playing Cyril. I mean, do you maybe? No, I mean, part of me is like, do you bring Trap out again? I'm like, no, you don't bring Trap out again. And I don't think you can bring Time out either, because you're playing Cyril or Raynor most likely. So if we get there, who the hell will this WTL team bring out? Do they go for the Zerg vs Zerg snipe with Rogue? Rogue is one of the biggest brain ZVZ players who can just bop people, but he can also just get bopped. I actually think Dark would be the best. I think the best Predator for unleashing on Cyril or Raynor is actually Dark. Even though they, they have mixed results head to head. There's that confident aura around Dark, but Dark is of course not in this match, is he? He's not there. He's not an option. You wish you could call in Big Daddy Dark. What can I say, man? I personally, fingers crossed for this World Championship. It's been a while since I wished for a Korean versus Korean finals, but I want to see Dark versus Maru in the grand finals, the World Champs coming up. For me, that is such an exciting match. Just because Dark's a bloody beast. He's so sick. So sick. And he really can run circles around people in the early late game, even when you think he's not as good at taking down turtlers. And obviously, like, it could be boring where you think it's going to be exciting, and then Maru just plays like the safest, most turtley games and just tries to force super late game and just ekes it out, and Dark can't compete with him because he's better in the mid game and so on. But who knows? Let's talk about the match at hand anyway. Pretty standard openings. Nice quick third for Cyril. So looks like a little bit of a clash opening there by the looks of it. And doesn't lose any drones this time. A little bit better. And that Reaper, flying a little bit close to the Queen there, mate. Almost goes down, but does survive. Once again, very quick third command center. Very few players that Maru or Clem feel they need to get the faster factory and starport production going for. They love these quick third command center openings, and Maru knows his strength is late game, so definitely an idea where you often see the Terran, right, take this third and then just fourth, fifth, and if you can take this fifth and hold on to it, you kind of get these two bases next to it almost for free. Reaper jumps up on the high ground, does get deflected by the Queen. That does delay the inject by about 8 seconds or so, just by getting the Queen out of position. So there's actually a benefit to trying to poke in the main there, even though he doesn't really get the scouting. So he doesn't get the 100% vision that he had in that last game. Now, obviously, if I was playing Maru, I would just be trying to hide 50 Zerglings over here, and then when the Hellions move out across the map, I'd run them in and, you know, hope he's not watching, because I'm a piece of shit and Maru's a god. SERRAL, on the other hand, let's like, that's the sort of sneaky thing Raynor might mix in there. He's like, oh, you know, I gotta catch him off guard. He's really good in late game, or someone might do that. I've always described SERRAL as, even when there is like a clear weak point in his opponent that other players identify, SERRAL still wants to win by just locking horns and showing that he's the superior, the stronger ram. You know, he's like he's a friggin' mountain goat fighting for mating rights or something. He's like, oh, I'll headbutt you to death. And I'm like, you know, you could do this other thing to get him with like a Nidus Worm because his builds are greedy as shit. And he's like, nah, I'm gonna headbutt you and show that my skull is thicker and stronger. SERRAL is at all times a man who wants to win the front-on fight. I've criticized Hero Marine in the past and a few other players for having a bit of that tendency. It's definitely more common in the European zone. Whoa. Nice ambush. Very nice ambush. Hellions and Reapers running. Ooh. Okay. Gets a Hellion, pushes it back for now. Viking just clearing things up. We are going to see the Battlecruiser opening one more time. And you know what's cool about this build order? You get a third command center, and the Battlecruiser still queues up at like, what, 450? Damn, that's crisp, man. It's only like 25 seconds, 30 seconds delayed from a pretty fast 2-base BC. Ooh, transfuses the Overlord to save it and kills the Viking. That's nice. That's very nice. And this time he's on 8 queens, guys, going to 9 queens, but he doesn't have a spore. He's building it now 5 minutes. These are very late spores, but perfectly timed for Battlecruisers. I love it. And this is because, remember, earlier he scouted with an Overlord, he lost it, but he saw the third CC. So he says, look, you could still go BCs, but if you do, it's not going to be hitting me before 5 minutes 30 at the earliest. Now, I think if you really sense it's Battlecruisers, you build a second spore in the main. So you put this one here and the other one there, and then it covers the main. Because the main is always, your queens are up front defending Hellions. You can easily get to your naturally your third. Getting all the way up into your main, especially if you don't connect that creep, can take a long time. That being said, great creep spread for SERRAL down the middle of the map. Maru's third base is landed, though. He's up to 3 barracks, going to 5 barracks already, and the double engineering bay. The minerals are coming in, and we're already hitting that point where Maru's build is about to completely pay off in terms of fast third command center. The question is, can the Battlecruiser do it as well? Battlecruiser's here! Notice he actually prioritizes swapping the buildings over that. Oh, that's not a good teleport. Run, Rue. Get out of there. Matt Horner, put your fucking foot in the accelerator, bro. 4 drones already going down. So good focus fire in a bad spot, but the Battlecruiser is down to half-life and can't do much more there. Now, of course, being in this dead space, you've kind of got a guard here and over here. I said, hey, just build a second spore in the main. SERRAL, apparently with some next level thinking, was like, well, I haven't seen a Banshee, I haven't seen a Lib, probably a Battlecruiser. If we just wait in the main for about 30-40 seconds during the window where the Battlecruiser could arrive, then we'll be ready for it. It'll get shut down. Now, unfortunately for him, that Battlecruiser could skim along this left side, take a few spore shots, kill 4 or 5 drones. Let's see how quickly SERRAL pulls the workers. Ooh, he's crispy. And those workers hard to take down because they keep popping into the gas. So he only gets 2 more there. That Battlecruiser is going to have to just wait in the back until its tack jump has cooled down. Overseer Scout comes through, confirms it's bio. This time he's got Bane speed and muters to deal with the Battlecruiser, and that gives him map control. And I'll tell you what, guys, Zerg players feel they can't afford to go muters these days. It takes too long to get them out. They're not good in frontal fights. Widow Mines kick their ass. But when the Terran opens up a Battlecruiser, doesn't get any momentum with it, you feel so happy. Because right now, SERRAL's like, ooh, an excuse to build muters. Not only does that shut down the Battlecruiser, it shuts down your drop ability. And where are your Widow Mines? The second factory starting at 7 minutes. That's got to finish. Build a reactor, take another 36 seconds, then start building Widow Mines for the first time. Maru, being very greedy, comes in, snags a drone, and does teleport home. Notice he teleports right in the mineral line. So there's minimal time pulling the SCVs away from mining. They repair it there, and then they go back to mining. You can see he's already queued them. There's that shift click. So once they're done repairing, they'll go back to it. Muters are about to come in, though. Turret's not quite ready in time. Uh-oh. Oh, where are his Marines? They're all out of position. He's just moved out as well. He's going to try and probably reset his rally point, do what he can. There is a turret in the mineral line down there that I did not see, so I was wondering why the mutas didn't dive. Not too bad. One muta goes down, few SCVs in a refinery. Hellbat Marine tank push on the right side, but this time Bane speed is ready. There's only 8 Banelings, but if they can find the center of the Hellbats, the Zerglings should be able to do very well against everything else, especially with those Queens in there as well. That tank is going to find this little nook. Notice that very limited surface area to attack it. It's got good reach. Hellbats and Marines trying to force the fight. They are a little clumped right now. Maru doesn't want to go too deep. He'd like to kill those Queens with the Marines, but he doesn't want to get caught by the Banelings. Let's try and get rid of the overlay. You can see the Banelings, the Lings here. He's not setting up a flank. Remember, SERRAL likes to headbutt. He likes to smash his opponent in the face, guys. He doesn't want to go around for the flanky flank. The surrounding SERRAL, the player who always set up the surround in 2018, he feels players push in too hard and fast these days, that it's too dangerous to set up a surround. That often one side of your flank gets isolated and caught out before you're ready to kind of snap the jaws shut. Think of it in terms of an alligator stretching its jaws, but then the Terran prey jumps in and just literally snaps one of the jaws off and then runs away before the other side can even close up. That's a pretty shit analogy, but yeah, whatever. I mean, it's left our mouth. You can't pull it back now, can you, pig? Anyways, 1-1 upgrades about 100 seconds, a minute 40 behind the Terran. But SERRAL's got a good hive timing coming in, that infestation pit. He is maxed though, so we definitely love to trade, as this is the point where if Maru's not ahead in the early game, he's just going to try and turtle up from here. He's just going to play super turtly, and mutas come in. Oh, looks like they killed, was that a medevac? A tank? I don't quite know. I think that might have been a siege tank there. I think it was a tank. Does lose a muta or two though, so big army coming forward for SERRAL. He needs to build 2 more overlords. It's that thing where you're like, oh, I'm maxed, but you're actually not quite maxed. You are 10 supplies short. Baneling's ready to do a run by. No tank, no Marines, no bunker on that left side. Battlecruiser alone will not defend it. The sensor tower should give him ample warning, and at this point, one of SERRAL's main targets will be the sensor towers, in fact. Sensor towers, very valuable units that you can snipe down. Here we go, Banelings on the left side. Maru, you gotta react, bro. Sensor tower's there for a reason, mate. Oh no, Maru! One Baneling comes in on its own, will not be able to do it. There was Widow Mines behind the gases. I did not see that. Gonna come in and clear those up. The Ling Bane tries to come in. Woo! Battlecruiser there and the turret do okay. The refinery goes down. Once he thinks about getting the other one, doesn't end up going for it. Ling Bane's gonna roll in. SERRAL just wants to trade right now. Does not get the command center. Does kill some Marines, some SCVs. Ling Bane running in from the right side. Just gonna kind of trade off a little bit. He's got a hive and 2-2 on the way. Doesn't want to let Maru get to maxed out for free. And oh, big booms. Big booms. 4th planetary does go down. Enough Banes to get 18 SCVs there and the command center. Immediately rebuilds it. Is this critical damage? It's not bad. Refinery burns down as well. That's uncharacteristic. Maru, too busy multitasking, defending on the right side. Does not repair the gas on the left, and he is a little gas starved. He's got a giant army, though, coming across the map, and where are we? 1 Marauder. He's only got 1 Marauder. Where is his barracks? This is one thing, guys. With this build order, I've noticed his last 3 barracks come down very late, same as in the last game. Oh, it's a lot of Banelings. The Widow Mines aren't burrowed here. The Banelings turn around momentarily. SERRAL, a little bit of a weird turnaround. He does continue with some Banelings, clears out the Widow Mines. He's going to back off for the moment. More Zerglings coming in from the right side. Just a handful of Lings going to be devastating against that command center, as the SCV, of course, is exposed. Marines, though, quick response squad. Get over there. Ling's going to go into the mineral line here. Ooh, SERRAL starting to open up a little bit. Find these angles. Now he's going for the turret, which I'm not such a big fan of. Does get a couple of SCVs, but he's going to have to just run it away. Army gathering to swing in. If he can kill this base on the right side again, that's going to be huge. Maru does not have a spare command center to replace it with. Planetary is not up yet, which means it's a very vulnerable target. Mutas start with 2 medevacs getting sniped. Make it 3, make it 4. The Banelings are going to kill the Marines and the Hellbats. This is a great catch for SERRAL. Where are the Widow Mines? There's 5 of them, but they must all be on the left side of the map. It's going to click on the command center. It's not going down just yet. The Mutas are killing SCVs. Looks like these Thors took a pretty good fight towards the trail end of it. Why do you have 4 Thors, though? It does feel like a little bit too much. They are getting extra armor upgrades. So they're going to be able to do some stuff. Maru, run! Maru! Fresh mules and SCVs! Nothing else was happening right there, but Maru just not watching. He at least realizes that some of the Banelings did burrow. But man, Maru losing a round of fresh mules and another 20 SCVs. It's a disaster. I thought keeping the command center alive, this might be his hope. But he's got to also pump the Widow Mines. He needs, like, Widow Mines are his most important thing to keep hanging on against the Ling Bane waves. There's a bigger problem coming, though. And I mean literally a bigger problem, because SERRAL is going to be making Space Cows. He's already got Adrenal Glands. He's got 3-3 on the way. Oh, Widow Mines do get some big booms. And, oh, get out of there. Run, SERRAL. Just run away. Guys, when you take 2 Widow Mine hits, all the mutas are on 40 hit points, man. You just leave. They don't have any armor, no armor upgrades. Plus 3 Marines do 9 damage a shot. So it's like 5 Marine shots per Mutalisk at that point, which is instant death to even a handful of Marines. So SERRAL does lose quite a few more mutas. 11 have died this game. He's going to go in for one more Bigling Bane muta trade. He wants to keep Maru's economy down. Doesn't want to let him add all the Marauders, the Widow Mines, all those pieces that allow a Terran army to become exceptionally scary. And if he can blow up that factory, that's going to be huge. The Banelings on the bottom right, not really getting great hits. They're kind of just forcing Maru back and hitting Marauders and Thors, which doesn't sound good, does it? But there's just enough Zerglings to kill everything else in the meantime. The factory falls, the orbital is going to go down, and Maru gets overrun. Tries the same build order again, and I criticized SERRAL in game 1 for doing a very straightforward and standard opening, and then kind of just doing a weird roach attack and not having many queens. Well, he adapted and played a much more solid style with lots of queens. Maru played the exact same build from the previous game, and we saw he got completely shut down when SERRAL didn't do that low queen random 5 roach pressure variant. So a little uncharacteristic of Maru to just kind of play the same style round 2. It's not advisable to do that against SERRAL, and SERRAL shows why. Ties up the series, and we're going to find out who the heck are both of these teams going to bring out as their revived player for the ace match. All right, we are going into the ace match, and oh, big surprise, Mr. SERRAL has been revived. This is SERRAL. It's a best of 1 to decide. 1 map to decide this best of 9. And his opponent doing a 12 pool. Oh my god, this is Rogue. Now, are we going to see an early drone go across? Is this just a 12 pool pressure? On this map, I feel like this map's really long. And yet I've seen so many 12 pools work here. He still doesn't have a worker doubled up on this right mineral patch. It's hurting me a little bit inside. SERRAL, I mean, he's just going to go hatch first, though, for sure. There's no way he goes pool first here. Right. He's going to pull a drone in a moment. The question is, does it go to the natural? It does! He's going hatch first. All right, he's going to have a tough time defending this. Now, remember, Rogue could grab most of his workers and pull them with this and build spine crawlers. This rush is all over the place. I mean, it's just... It's so hard to stop. We've seen it work so many times. There has been so many draw games recently between Dark and Rogue where Dark does this to him. Notice Rogue is sending 1 drone ahead. The idea here being, guys, that he is going to try and build that spine crawler here. Now, he could build a hatchery, cancel it, build the spine here, and then run it in. He might be doing it that way. And that's probably it, but maybe he tries to get a spine started there. Actually, I think he's going to do... Oh! Oh, what? He's taking his 3rd hatchery... Whoa, Rogue. What is this? What? So he's going to pretend he's 1-basing, but he's actually going to drone behind this, right? So he's going 10 Zerglings. He should be building drone next, right? Or is he going to go more than 10 Zerglings? Starts a queen, and then a drone, and then an overlord, right? Or an overlord, then a drone. Find out the lava's going to pop out in a moment. What are you building? What are you building, buddy? Oh, it is more Zerglings. 12 Zerglings. Okay. Are we going to see 14 Zerglings, or are we going to see an overlord pop up there? Overlord does pop up. Okay, so he's done at 12 Zerglings. Drones come down to scout for a spine crawler rush. This is a pretty big aggression from Rogue, but I don't know what the forward hatch is for. Obviously, it's so that SERRAL overreacts. He wants SERRAL to, when he sees that there's no hatchery, give up his expansion. He's trying to trick SERRAL into giving up the expansion because SERRAL's going to assume Ling Speed's about to kick in. SERRAL sees no expansion. He should pull his drones back. He's going to have to pull his drones back. No, he's still trying to fight anyway. Oh, but his Zerglings get surrounded. This does not look good for SERRAL. He's going to try and fight out here, but his drones are getting surrounded awfully. But he does surround the right flank of Rogue. Pulls his drones back, though. Oh my god, he really wants that queen to get out. So that's why SERRAL's fighting this. This is crazy, though. Ling Speed should have kicked in by now. SERRAL might be a little bit confused. He does get the queen out. If he can keep the hatchery up, that would be huge. But the hatchery's down to 50 hit points. 1 Zergling left, 38 hit points, 34 hit points, and it survives. And there's no follow-up. And the Overlord went over and actually saw the 3rd hatch, so he knows there's an expand behind this. SERRAL is going to lose an Overlord, though. That's rough. Notice Rogue there with some nice stutter step on the queen, and does get that Overlord. That supply block SERRAL. SERRAL also started Ling Speed, and he's making a Baneling there. SERRAL is... I mean, that's... So this is the problem with Rogue's build, is how do you defend this? I was saying, well, normally you go gasless after a 12 pull. I actually thought he might be doing a slow Zergling all-in follow-up and use this as a launching pad to sneak those Lings down the right side of the map. Sounds ridiculous, I know, but it could potentially work against a very high-level player. Right now, though, having let that hatchery survive, very bad for Rogue in that regard. Look at his worker count, though. He's up 8 workers, but Cyril is just going, yeah, it's fine, I'm just going to all-in you. He's hiding his Zerglings over there. He's just going to morph Banelings and go. Now, what's funny is the angle he's choosing to attack from, because I feel like the main base is way easier to clear out, and it's going to have more drones in it. Attacking from the right side gives you 2 options. You can go there or there and pick the path of least resistance. So I would have loved him to hide his Banelings on the right side. Either way, it's a huge counter all in. He's down 12 workers. Cyril feels like it's too easy for him to accidentally lose this hatchery if he messes around at all. Rogue sees it! Oh, and Rogue's Baneling nest has just started. And Rogue, build a spine crawler right now, buddy. Even if you do, though, you're dead. You need to build another Evo chamber. This queen, her butt's sticking out a bit too much. Yeah, he's building an Evo chamber. But even that Evo chamber should have been there. Like, he needs to fully wall this mineral line in. Banelings are here! Oh my god. Oh my god. Cyril is just going for broke right now. Does he target the Bane nest? He doesn't. He's trying to get around this mineral line. He's morphing a lot more Banelings on the front. He's just going to surround the enemy Zerglings. The queens are taking a good fight. The drones think about going out there and then decide, no, that's a ludicrous idea. Drones need to run. They're going to... Oh, big booms. Big booms. And oh my god, Cyril has now got a surround on these queens. Their big booty sticking out. They are getting clawed down. Cyril with a decisive counterattack. Rogue going for a huge gambly mind game. And it did not pay off. Cyril catches him off with a huge counterattack. And this is kind of crazy. I cannot get over this read by Cyril that he went and defended his hatchery. Normally, against a gas build, you give up the expansion. But you know what? I think Lambo has actually taught Cyril something. I think playing against Lambo so much has actually taught Cyril a lot. Man, Cyril, he's not got the win yet. Remember, he's only on 17 workers. Rogue putting up an incredible fight, but the supply lead, oh, losing that queen. That was his defensive anchor, his one ranged unit that could give him efficiency. And as it is, look at that. Cyril, he can trade 4 Zerglings for a Baneling. He doesn't care. He's like, that's fine with me, mate. It's an awkward trade, but it's fine. Like 3 Zerglings for a Baneling, that's an equal trade. 4 Zerglings, in fact. 2 Zerglings, he's like, yeah, you can't keep it up because I got Banelings. A big boom in the mineral line goes down. The Zerglings run in, they start to focus it. And oh, the spine crawler is trying to hang on. Another Waddly boy comes in and goes boom all over the face of that spine. Doesn't hit too many more drones, but any more Lings and Banes getting in could be devastating. Not to mention this hatchery out in the open. Cyril queues up 1 more drone. He's still injecting off 2 queens. He's got Lings and Banes out front right now, and he does take a trade there. 1 Baneling for 3 Zerglings, which I think he's okay with. The spine's moving down. Rogue knows he needs to defend this base, so he's going to try and use this spine to control a little bit of area. Cyril should continue across the map, though, and Rogue realizes that he's dead. And Cyril wins the damned match, closes it out with a 5-4, goes 1-1 versus Maru. Rogue comes out with the sniper build, and it doesn't pay off. And I gotta go back and look at this because I'm flabbergasted. Because normally, and this is the way it played out in the next tournament, which keep in mind was like a month before this, I guess. You see no expansion. You're meant to pull your drones back and just defend your main base. But Cyril, I don't know how, somehow makes this read of like, oh no, I'm going to actually fight to defend it. And the thing is, if we remember correctly, Lambo did say in his analysis after that match, he said people against the gas pool opening, they just give up their expansion. You kill it, you take a delayed expand at about 2 minutes 20 or something, and then you drone up and you get ahead. And he said it's cool because nobody knows the correct response. So if people go hatch first and then give up the expansion, they actually always end up buying. So Cyril at this point assumes this is a 13-12, a 13 gas 12 pool. So at this point, he's playing under that assumption, and that's what Rogue wanted him to think. Now, Rogue wanted him to think that because Rogue said the standard knowledge is you give up the expansion because at 2 minutes 30, Ling speed kicks in and Banelings come in as well. Way too dangerous to pull drones and Zerglings down here to defend the expansion. Cyril, though, I think a step ahead in the metagame in EU, the Lambo, with Coach Lambo leading the ZVZ metagame, has actually said, no, I've got to fight, get the second queen out, start trading with your Zerglings before Ling Speed and the Banelings are here, and try to buy time on that hatchery. And I mean, it's scary because he takes a lot of damage on these drones, And those Zerglings should have ran to the left. He should have rallied that first egg out to the left side. So if those first 2 Zerglings survived, it would have been a bit better for him. But yeah, he like full on says, hey, I'm going to commit to fighting here and basically force that queen out. And if you want to stop that, well, you know, you have to trade before Ling Speed's done. Now, obviously, Rogue's like, I mean, that's a pretty good fight for me, but still, I want to kill your hatchery. And I really want to handicap you super badly by doing that. Now, if he committed to hitting the hatchery a little earlier there, he might have got it. So we could argue there's a mistake for Rogue to not target the hatchery a little bit quicker, right? At this point. Already, click the hatchery. Just click the hatchery, keep clicking it. Yep, just pull those 2 Zerglings to fight those. And obviously pulls, but maybe just here, pull back just a second earlier. I mean, it looked like he made the right call because otherwise he was going to lose those low hit point Zerglings very quickly. Maybe he would have got the hatchery though. 34 hit points is very, very close. Now, the problem he finds himself in is that he's just going to try and play a standard Ling Bane game with a third base that's all the way out here. And that's obviously SERRAL, seeing this base, immediately snap calls, I'm going to go Ling Speed. I'm going to do that. And the thing is, like, most players would want to be spending the lava on drones to rebuild their economic losses. But SERRAL immediately realized, nah, I want to effing kill you. And he actually drops the Baneling Nest even earlier than he should have here. He actually should be just spending his money on a few more drones, I would argue. And does he end up doing this off 17? No, he goes completely all in. Balls to the wall, all in. Because he's building Zerglings like a minute before Ling Speed finishes. So this is like a pretty confident and call by SERRAL. But I think he just sees that third base sticking out and says, there's no way you're going to be able to defend that. If I have faster Ling Speed and Bane Nest than you, which I should, because you've gone for the 12 pool, there's just no way you can defend that. And I've already got 2 queens injecting. Make Lings, Morph Banes on the front, go for the win. And it's a great call by SERRAL. I think Rogue is probably a little pissed off though, and a little bit flabbergasted in the first place that SERRAL actually tried to defend the natural. If he killed the expansion, SERRAL would not have the production to do this big Ling Bane attack. So very well played. Rogue, of course, didn't really have any follow-up scouting. He could have been more active with his Zerglings, trying to get in. If he had a little bit more early warning of this, or had any idea that this was coming, he could have gone Baneling Nest before Zergling Speed. And if he did Baneling Nest, then Ling Speed, very turtley build, very defensive stance, but it would have kept him alive here, because he would have had Banelings ready when the first wave comes. And then he could guard this ramp with Banelings and a queen, guard the front with 2 queens and a Baneling. Would have been a much more doable hold. Fantastic play by both players though. Rogue with a cool mind game. It feels like it got him to an okay position, but the fact that the third base was sticking out obviously is what SERRAL capitalized on. So a great counterplay. GG, well played. And SERRAL does take it for the world team. And Foreigners once again doing very well in these sort of show matches. And let's be real, guys, credit where it's due. It's almost always heavily off of the back of SERRAL's performance. So well done, mate. GG's.